Hello everybody. Next update on the junk quilt. So the junk quilt is the junk, it's not done. I've got 7 of these. I have chained all my pieces together. I have this one. I just finished this one. I just finished that one. I've just set everything aside nicely, and that's the back. These are the fronts. And again, absolutely no pattern, no rhyme, no reason at all. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing next, just so you guys can stay caught up, I want to show you guys a couple things, because this is junky, so it's okay. When you're doing these, the whole idea behind this is it's to trust yourself and not get agonizing if things are a little off center. So I'm going to show you that. See how off center that is? That one's there, that one's there, that one's there. I'm going to pull it out of the camera. Okay, basically this one here, the background was cut to 12 inches. The background in this one was cut to 12.5 inches. And because I just lined it up by eyeball, this is way off base, right? So when this is done, this is going to be a really narrow edge, and this is going to be a nice thick edge. So as I'm going through, I'm going to try and remember to stop and show you guys how to get past that. But if you're doing one of these, if you're sewing along with me, you're going to see where some of this stuff is uneven, and that's kind of the intent. Remember I said not to focus on making everything exactly where it wants to be. So the next step is to take this one and sew it to this one. So what you have as your top and what you have as your bottom is entirely up to you. Now you can just grab them and go and not give. See, I noticed right up top that if I put these two together, they're going to be black with black and white. So I just flipped it around. If stuff ends up lining up and accidentally coordinating, I don't really care. I'll give it a quick flip if there's something obvious, because this is still black and that one's going to be black. I'm off the camera. That's black and that's going to be black and white, so I don't care. So now what you're going to do, what I'm going to do, I'm going to trust myself, and I'm not going to use any pins. So I'm going to do exactly what I've been doing, and that is I'm going to line up these two corners as best I can. I'm going to try and get this camera to be not quite so horrible, but again, once the camera and the tripod, ooh, that's why, that's not where it should be. That should be over there. Look at that, there's some space now. Okay, so if you're determined, if you are not confident, let's get this back down a bit. Oh my God, this is an update in Vertigo, guys. So you can get your pins and get your clips, and what you want to do is you want to line up the backs together and make sure the corners are matching. Pin it if you need to, all the way down. And to do that, you're not gonna do it from a bundle that's rolled up in your lap. You're gonna be fiddling with the camera is what you're gonna be doing. Sorry guys, this is just a bit of an update because I'm getting started on this. So what's gonna happen here, I'm just gonna do one. And like I said, if it's important to pin it, then lay them out back to back and just pin it, clip it all the way down, making sure that the batting on this side meets the batting on that side, so that when you're sewing right along and you're not sewing on the batting. I'm just going to trust myself. So what I do and how I do it to be able to trust myself a little bit better is I just kind of shake everything out a little bit so it's back to back. Stuff the whole works. I make sure my floor is clean down by my feet. And I also give everything a quick wash as soon as, the very first thing I'll do before I use this is screw around with that. Look, there's more junk in my background. I even have my closet door open and I don't care today. I'm just going to get this done. Okay, so I'm just going to line that one up, and I'm going to come down here. These, okay, maybe I got to get back in here again. Okay. This where these two meet is not going to line up exactly with this where these two meet. Get it as close as you can and try not to worry about it. Because as you get going, you'll find that they don't meet perfectly. That's going to be beautiful. That is going to be gorgeous because it's really, really going to highlight the intentional messiness of this particular style of quilt. I'm not concerned. So I'm just going to start sewing. This is the exact same way that I did for the side width. This is the exact same technique as I put these together onto. I'm just doing it bigger now. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do 2, then I'm going to add 1. Well, it's actually going to be the exact same way. I'm going to be keeping only one width, one 10-inch width that's going to be going into here. The rest is going to be off to this side, towards you guys, towards the camera. And again, 4 layers of fabric, because you got the top, you got this fabric, then you got your backing fabric, then you've got your batting. So that's 1, 2, 3 layers, 6 layers versus just these 2. It's really easy to feel. So just feel along, trust yourself. That is more or less lined up where these 2 pieces were sewn together more or less meets up, more or less, it doesn't have to be perfect, more or less meets up with the same spot on the bottom. Back yourself up, get these 2 pieces, more or less line them up, more or less get that in there. More or less just double check that. I find this is a lot easier to do without pins. And again, your level of comfort and experience. But if you were going to pin, you'd just put a pin at each, you'd put a pin at each of these intersections where the backing fabric is folded up at the front. 1 or 2 pins along here to hold this in place, because that is a triangle that can shift, and then 1 or 2 here. And then you would just do that for the entire length. I find this to be quicker to do it this way. This is another reason why I like doing this kind of quilting, because when I need to, I can do these fairly quickly. Okay, so keep going. Stop, stop, stop. Don't worry about whether or not these are perfectly matching. Just get them more or less lined up. More or less. This is, I don't know why this is my favorite. It's obviously like the most, well, you know what? I was going to say the most imperfect way you can do this, but if you're taking the time to measure and pin everything down, you can get these very precise. And I just did Lisa's, well, since the beginning of December, I did a dragon one for myself using actually some of this fabric right here. And then I did a unicorn one for Lisa. And for both of those, I measured everything and made sure that I had this as close as possible. This is the intentional boho look, where you're kind of intentionally not caring. I said that in the last update. So the last update was actually, from my perspective, a little earlier today, but I think that this is going to go up the next day. I'm not sure when these videos are going to go up, so don't worry, I'm not going to hoard them and keep them forever, but I'm just not sure when I'm actually going to get them up. I did go ahead and do a thing. Went ahead and did a thing. I moved all the Etsy content. Onto its own channel. Not to be strange or anything, but sewing and Etsy, like people are coming to see the sewing, people are coming to see the Etsy. There's people that are coming to see both, so maybe I'll link the Etsy channel somewhere. But it's a lot. I'm semi-retired. I'm sitting on my ass at home, and I have the time to go back and forth between a couple of channels. So I thought I would move the Etsy content onto its own channel, just to make it easier for navigating. Like I said, people are coming in for the sewing content, and not necessarily the Etsy content, or people coming in for one or the other. So if you are here for the Etsy, go look up Etsy Rants for my other channel. I'm just kind of getting that set up now. Some of the videos will start moving over there in a couple days. I'm not killing myself over this. I'm not killing myself over a high-end curated channel. It's just the same shit on a different same shit in a different neighborhood, you know? Anyway, so we're almost done, almost to the end. Okay. That one's done. And then I'm going to take the whole thing, drag it back. And I'm just going to do exactly what I did before. And that is I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up. I want that kind of messy boho look, so I'm not pinning. I'm just going to trust myself. Now the really cool thing, I'm going to get this comfortably started, then I'm going to stop and show you a couple things, at least hopefully. Okay, still stuffing everything down between my feet. So if you're following along, make sure that your floor area below you is nice and clean. Make sure your feet are nice and clean. Anyway, so for this, I'm going to just take this, I'm going to fold it so that I'm just going to fold a little mini crease in there so I can grab it. And then I'm just going to do that. Now this has a couple of spots. This has a couple things. Now the interesting thing is to keep in mind is that once I'm done with this has already been quilted. And again, I just did a quick crisscross. I could have done all sorts of designs and patterns into each individual one of these. You can make this as complicated as you want. So once I'm done, because I'm finishing this as I go, once I'm done, all I have to do is run this forward as self-binding, and the whole quilt is done. I'm actually pretty close to the end of this. Okay, now I'm coming up to here, and I'm gonna see if I can get this camera around for a good angle. Sorry for the vertigo. Let's see if I can get that in there from there. Okay. Let's see. Are you gonna focus? Focus. Okay. Now, I'm fairly close, but I did that on purpose so I could show you guys. So if you see here, you'll see that this is longer than that one. So what you want to do is take both together, and you may want to use a pin for this to hold everything down, and then just tuck it down. Now there's going to be loose stitching to take out. I mean, not to take out, but to trim off. There's going to be loose stitching to trim off. I always do it last. So basically what I've got here is this is going to come in, and it's going to curve in. This is going to come in, but it's going to curve in over here, and then I'll be able to bring it straight again. But watch this. Hopefully you guys can see the effect that's happening. I'm back to a straight line again. And because the blue, let's get a little bit forward, and maybe I can pull this back and show you. So I'm just going to get down to the end a little bit. I'm still doing my trick where I'm coming back quite a ways and just letting the fabric follow its own line to fold itself as I give. I am tugging on this, but I'm not pulling with a lot of pressure. I'm just getting a slight tug. So that's how I'm getting past these. That's how I'm getting past these intersections up here. Let's get down here. Whoop. Nope, didn't do it. Okay, let's get back here. And I'm just gonna, nope, I can't drag it. I can't drag it back. Oh, I can't drag it back. Let me see. So because these colors are all matching, obviously, then that curve that I did up here to get everything nice and straight, it's barely visible. And when you back out and you're looking at the entire blanket all as one unit when it's done, you're only going to see it if you're looking for it. So again, let's go over here. Again, I'm going to take the top and the bottom of this, and I'm going to fold it in together. See if this needs to curve in so that one can match the other better. Again, don't forget, I did these without measuring, just eyeballing everything. So there's going to be a bunch of these that I'm going to be doing that on. And so far, I'm running along at a pretty good clip and am getting this done. The entire purpose of this quilt is to have a useful quilt that I can just get done. And I happen to have found out from experience that this boho look is just fucking amazing. This piece here is actually from the same collection as this, but this one actually is, can you see it? Yeah, this one's more focused on pinks. So that's that one. Okay. And we're still sorting out the lighting back in here. I don't want to call it a battle, but it's an ongoing thing to get, it's an ongoing thing to get the right light for sewing, because I want you guys to be able to see. I want you guys to be able to see, but if I have it too bright in here, I won't be able to see. So we will be figuring out where things have to go. Anyway, okay. So I'm going to do this side, then I'm going to do this side. And I'm going to get these two done. Then I'm going to come back in a minute. I'll show you where this is going from here. Because this update, yeah, I'll be back. I'm not going to explain shit. I'm just going to go. I'll be back. I'm going to finish folding this one down, then I'm going to fold this one down, then I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, second part of my third update. Isn't that where I'm at right now? Anyway, second part of this update. Second part. Okay, so I've got, these two are done. They're sewn together. Okay, so basically this being a quilt as you go technique, this section, and there's going to be little threads that you're going to find, so don't agonize about that. Okay, so this section is done, and two of these strips are now put together. Okay, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push everything over a little bit. Again, I'm being a little bit, I've got the cord and stuff from my camera, so that's kind of in the way. So now, as a quilt as you go technique, this is where it gets fun. So I'm going to take the next one. I'm going to take the next one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide, I'm going to take that. There's the top, there's the bottom. Well, I've got two black on that side. I've got black here. This one's black and white. So do I want a pale or do I want that? Okay, I guess I made a decision, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oops. First thing you do is you put this beside that and that beside that. That's how it's going to look when it's done, okay? And then you just line these up, but I'm going to make it difficult on myself because I'm going to flip the whole thing around. I'm going to flip the whole thing around. Normally I'd be doing this at a table, okay? But I just want to make sure you guys get to see what's going on. So, I know it looks hella awkward when I'm doing it on a camera, but anyway, so what's going on here is this is the top of this, and then that's going to line up there. Did I just put it on the wrong side? Nope, I didn't. So that's going to line up there. So the way that that's going to line up means that that's where you want the backs to meet. So I'm going to line up the back to here, to here, to here. Okay. So what's going on here, the really cool thing about this technique is that I'm not stuffing big wads of bulk into the side over here. Into the side. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it without making... There we go. My dog. Can you guys see her? She's having the time of her life over here. Digging a hole in the blankets. If I get too close, she'll get upset. I'm probably going to have to edit that up. If I get too close, she gets upset and then she stops. Okay. So with regular quilting, you put all of this together first. And then you've got to shove big wads of fabric into this hole here to do your quilting and all this stuff. This has already been quilted. And again, this is boho, this is rustic, so my only quilting on this was to go crisscross, okay? So I'm going to get it started. Again, I have the benefit of the knee lift, so I get to get a little tiny bit, I get a little bit more cheating in even than other people get. So I just stuffed everything down into my lap, let it spill on the floor, make sure your floor is clean. You're doing the same thing as before. You're starting from all the way to the edge, folding it in half, let the first piece that you've done sit over to the edge here, stop, double check, line it up, give it a little wiggle, give it a little sew. Okay, take your time. This can get heavy, so what I do is I drape it all the way down to the floor, but then I pull it up into my lap, pull it a bit. You can either stack the whole thing up gently into your lap, or you can drop it to the floor and then pull a bit of it at a time up into your lap. So I make sure that the pieces there are more or less matching the same pieces on the back. Come through there. So this is the exact same thing, and again, I just stop. That's a bit messy there. I just stop and do a quick little double check. You can find where the batting is with your fingertips. It's really easy because batting is thicker. And more or less line those up. I do find that I flip this over as I go, flip it over back and forth just to make sure it's lined up the way I want it to be. Because I want this over on this side away from here. Because I have the weight of this as it gets heavier and more bulky. That's one problem, but the bulkiness of trying to get it through the throat here, this is called the throat. The bulkiness, trying to shove that bulkiness through the throat, especially if you're new and still learning, can just be a very daunting thing. Anyway. So yeah, so what else have I got going on? Yeah, I decided to move my Etsy videos to their own channel because I do have the time to maintain it, and it's okay if I have 2 baby channels instead of 1 big channel. I'm doing the videos because we already have the equipment. I'm already doing videos with my wife. It's fun. So I'm not too concerned. For those of you that have found your way here just for the Etsy, if you're still willing to watch it this far into a sewing video, it's going to be Etsy Rants. It's going to be the name of the video, name of the channel. And the first video should be up. Should probably already be up. Maybe I'll provide a link in the community tab or something. Okay. So I'm doing this, so this is exactly like I just did the first one. The reason why I'm almost there. The reason why I wanted to come back and show you the part 2 of this update. Let me just get this almost done. Is because there's a trick, because there's always a trick. There's always a trick. Trick number 1 is make sure your microphone's on. I just double check that now, part way in. Don't worry, I've got 7 of these to put on. If I were to have screwed up the, audio, I would just turn on the audio and keep going because I'm going to be doing this exact same technique until all 7 strips are attached. Okay, give that a boop. Give that a boop. It's starting to get a little bulky. Now this is kind of nice. I've got a love seat in front of me here, so my fabric can just roll up against the love seat. If you're in a situation where this fabric is rolling down onto the floor, the weight of it can eventually build up and start creating some pull for you. And if that's the case, then you may want to shift your sewing machine so you've got more space for the stuff to go. There's also a buddy system where a buddy stays on the other side of the machine and just helps hold up your fabric for you. Which my wife has been my sewing buddy to hold up fabric on many a quilt for me. So, okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all of this through backwards. I'm going to pull all this back, holding on to the top. Flip this, fold this flat, okay? This is the part I'm showing you. This is the part I'm trying to show. Maybe I need to get maybe I need a different tripod. Well, I need to steal my wife's tripod is what I'm trying to delicately say here. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got the first row is over here, the second row is over here. The row I'm working on is now in here. I've only got a 10-inch piece of fabric in the throat area here. I've only got a 10-inch piece of fabric in the throat area, which means that I do not have the same, I can focus on this instead of wrestling with all my bulk. Okay? Which is what I'm showing you in this second part of the update. This is the part that matters. So now I'm coming back, and again, I'm doing the exact same thing. And I have my table here that the machine is on, and this is actually a second table. I've got 2 tables in an L shape. So as I feed this through, and if the camera wasn't in the way, I'm still feeding this down. I'm still feeding this down in my lap, and I'm letting it drift to the floor. That's fine, but I'm still feeding it down in my lap. But as this gets more bulky, this here is just going to start resting up on the table beside me. And I'm going to have a whole lot less weight to fight with. I will say that when I found this technique, realizing that I wasn't going to have to fight with all that bulk, because I've done projects where I've had to roll 48 inches of fabric into a roll and get it through this throat, and then it's a hassle. It's just, especially if you're trying to hurry, if you're trying to hurry, if you're just trying to get it done. And I will tell you right now, anybody who's looking for a reason to practice making one of these, you will feel very proud. You will feel like you've had a ton of practice on getting those lines straight, putting things where you want them. Whoops, there's another piece of thread that needs to come off. I like to trim threads as I go, but on any quilt like this, spotting the threads as you go can be difficult. So just be committed to going back over everything. So again, I fold it here. I just flip this up and get my hand underneath so I can pinch from the top. Pinch it any way that makes sense to you. Fold it down. Pet them both a little bit to get them spread out so they're nice and flat. If any of you who have not done a quilt, if any of you happen to be quilters and happen to want to try the technique, then, okay, anybody who's trying the technique, but if you happen to be somebody who already has quilting experience, I'd love to hear back from you if you decide to do a project using this technique. I'm in love with it. I'm in love with this project. I'm in love with this technique because it really just, it meets it. The first blanket I did with this, it definitely met me where I am from a skills perspective, which I really liked. I got a like the very first quilt I ever made using this technique. Actually, the very first quilt I ever made was a 10 by 10, 100 by 100 inch king size quilt. So, but yeah, once these last strips are on, so this is, I'm going to be doing this for the next little while. And then once this is done, all I'm going to have left is this to fold in half, fold again, go all the way around the blanket, and I'm done. Don't give into the urge to do this. This will become the self-binding at the end. Don't give into the urge to do the self-binding as you go, because if anything happens, or you notice that there actually is a problem, there never really is, but if, then it becomes a whole lot of stuff you got to pick out, and it's a lot easier and quicker to do your self-binding at the very end and do it all at once. So, oh yeah, one more thing to show you guys. One more thing. See if I can find one. I'll have to show you guys on the finished quilt where the, because I've already got it on the machine, but where the, like that line, this line where these two meet comes here. That line where these two meet is like up by 1/4 inch and over. So this is something that you're going to get with this type. If you're going to do this technique the way I'm doing it right now, these lines are not going to be perfectly straight, and that's part of the charm. It's kind of intentional, because then it facilitates you going a little faster, going a lot faster. I don't know. Okay, so the instructional portion be done. I'm just gonna, yeah, this corner right here. Look, can you guys see this? Let me just get in here. Hope you guys could see that. If you can't, I'm gonna blame Lisa. Okay, that piece right there. The center line for this is right here where this where the green on green is. Okay, that yellow. This right here is the center line. So that is the center line right there. That's the center line up there. They're way off. These are way off. There's the center line right there. This adds to the effect, and it'll be cool when it's done. Just trust me. Just trust me, it's going to be. I want to show you guys this as you go, because in regular quilting this would be a big mistake. In regular quilting, that's so far off you need to fix it. And in this type of quilting, when you're going for a boho effect, I'm calling this a junk quilt because no two squares are the same and there's absolutely no pattern. But when you're going through a boho effect, when you're intentionally going for a boho effect, the fact that things are not matching up perfectly becomes part of the charm. And you don't want to do it intentionally because it's already going to happen anyway, but you don't want to stop it from happening. Did I say that right? Like, I would never intentionally mismatch, but I know for a fact, yeah, like this one here almost perfectly matches, and that's fine. But some of them are just not even, some of them are going to be like really bad, just really bad, and that's okay. If you come to an intersection and you feel like you're not getting it, if you feel like your intersection might come loose, because going down, when you go across these intersections, it's an extra level of reinforcement to hold the squares to each other. So if you're coming down there, if you want to, if you feel like the need to reinforce the blanket itself, then backstitching at each corner as it goes over these intersections can help. Doesn't have to, but you can. But you can. But you can. But you can. Okay, that's it for the update. That's it for the update. That's where I'm at. Let me see if I can bring this one. No, I can't bring this one back because it's not sewn down yet. I will give you a close-up of some of these effects so you can see for yourself. But when you see the finished blanket, you're not gonna notice, you're not gonna care. And when you finish your own blanket, because I have faith that I have faith that at least some of you are gonna try this technique. When you finish your own blanket, you're gonna notice that nobody is gonna notice or care. What you beeping at me for? Don't beep at me, I don't like that. Okay. Finished babbling. I finished babbling. I've got 4 more of these to add, and then once those are done, I'll be back with the final update to show you how to do the binding, which I've already shown self-binding, but I might as well follow this project through to the end. So once I've got these next strips all added, I will be back with a final update to give you an idea of what you're looking at, and then how to put the binding on, and then we'll take a little tour of the finished product and let you guys take a really good look and see for yourself just how easy and fun this is, and how this is one of those success no matter what. I think it's a success no matter what blanket. So I'm in love with this technique. I'm probably going to be showing it again and again and again and again and again on various projects, because and one of the things I like about this is because I sew other things for a living. I don't know. Okay, anybody who's into quilting can tell you. Maybe somebody who's into quilting can pipe in the comments. Anybody who's into quilting can tell you that when you're working on a quilt, when you're working on a proper quilt, doing a proper quilt top with all the stuff, it can take over your entire sewing space for a while. And I don't have the time or the space for that. But stacking up a bunch of these somewhere, and then making the little mini sandwiches, crisscrossing, all that stuff. Once you get the basics of it sorted out, it starts to, once you get these little sandwiches made, these little minis made, then the rest of your space starts to open up, and you actually have proper space for working again. But yeah, okay, I gotta stop talking. I just got the camera on. You know what it is? The camera's on, and I'm over here with both hands busy and don't want to let go of anything long enough to turn the camera off. But anyway, I'm going to let go long enough to turn the camera off, guys. Sorry. Anyway, so like, subscribe, hit the bell, do the things. You know the drill. I'm trying to take over the world one subscription at a time, and I need your help. And leave your comments below. I also love to chat with you guys. And in the meantime, you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.